Whole show going crazy. Whole show going crazy. Top 5 we debating.
Top five. 5 Over Friends, the show where we debate our top 5 list on a topic chosen by a listener with the listener.
As usual, our friendship goes out the door once we get into it. This is 5 Over Friends.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of 5 Over Friends. We have a new guest this week. His name's Oliver. Last week's episode was with Roker, and Roker beat me and Seth in the voting on the polls. It was Roker 1, me, Wesley, 2, and Seth 3. So we'll have a punishment for Seth coming for that. But without further ado, let's turn it over to Oliver and let him introduce himself and talk about his topic.
Hi, what's up, everybody? I'm Oliver. I just found out there's a punishment, so I might just be ditching this right as we start. I didn't know that was a thing. I found out about this podcast last week when my buddy Roker was on. I loved the concept. I had fun listening to it. Hope to follow up in Roker's footsteps, bring the banter, get the W. That's the goal. I know Roker from law school down in Winston-Salem, Wake Forest. I'm just hanging out, studying for the bar. And, we got COVID-19 going on. So my topic, I think it's pretty relatable for all of us, is like, it's COVID-19 activities. Like, what can we still do with all these new rules and laws and masks and social distancing? I thought it would be kind of a neat topic because it's all affecting all of us every day. So, yeah.
Yeah, I really like the topic, Oliver, and I appreciate you joining us on the show. So I think it's important to note that neither Wes nor I know you outside of about 2 minutes ago when we did our quick hellos to kind of kick off the podcast. So I like to mention that whenever we have somebody new on the show that we don't actually know, because I think that's the whole purpose of the show, is to try to, grow our listeners, of course, but also like our friend circle. So I'm looking forward to hearing your top 5 and beating you this week. So I'm looking forward to that.
Okay.
And there is no punishment for the guest. Well, I'll add that in there. So you don't have a punishment. Just the loser between me and Seth.
We don't punish
enough.
you for joining us and for providing us a great topic. So.
Hey.
All right. So if you want to kick us off with your number 5, we'll get into it.
All right. Sweet. So, we all know gyms have been closed for months now. I was in decent shape, I'd like to say, before. Starting to get pretty fat, kind of getting to me. So I've taken up, and this is my number 5, I've started to go on a lot of hikes. It's nice because it's like that good combo of like, one, very good social distancing, all that. So that's bonus. And, a little bit of exercise, and hopefully at the end, you're going to look at something pretty and then go on the way down. So for me, that's my number 5. I think it's pretty solid.
I would say it is pretty solid, except for I live in Kansas City and we don't have really anywhere to hike. We're hiking across plains in Kansas City. It's like, if you want to go on a hike, it's up a 5-degree incline on a residential street, I feel like.
True. I like a good hike. We've got some pretty good spots in North Carolina.
Yeah, definitely.
I really number 5. I can't hate on hiking.
Can't. Yeah, it's no issue with that here.
All right, let's go.
All right, so my number 5 is kind of staying inside and supporting local restaurants and businesses is my number 5. So I know that when COVID-19 happened, we were really cooking all of our meals, but I got tired of cooking eventually. And so we decided that we were going to try a bunch of new, like, local places that we hadn't tried before, and then tried to shop at some of the local places because I felt like supporting them was important. So and then giving back to all the delivery drivers. Shout out all you essential delivery drivers. Make sure you tip them all well when they're out there getting your food, because it's important. They're putting their lives on the line for you to have your French fries, or for me to have my chocolate concrete from Custard's Last Stand. But so that's my number 5, just kind of ordering in, but trying to make sure that it's local.
The feeling of like just destroying 12 chicken wings and then feeling like you're like helping the community. Like all of a sudden that's like a
Right?
good thing to do. It's like, oh, I'm a
Yes.
good person sitting here on my couch just like eating like fat people food. But
and the comfort food and stuff like that has definitely been good during COVID. It's kind of I've kind of thrown any diet and like you said, kind of the exercise too out the window. So those local spots that have the good pizza, the good wings have been really nice and during this time.
Yeah, so Oliver started on one end of the spectrum, and I went to the other end of the spectrum with all the fatty food. So, Wes, where do you got us?
My number five, I went get back into old hobbies. So for me, I used to collect baseball cards, and in 2020, for whatever reason, they've kind of made a big resurgence, and people are talking about them again. They're hard to find on shelves. It's a lot of fun to me. I had a
Okay,
big
Gary
old.
V.
I
Gary V. Jr. over here.
I visited my parents when this all first started, and I found my big old box of my old cards in my parents' house. I went through them. I've enjoyed finding all of my old favorite cards, like the Chipper Jones cards. Just that was my favorite player growing up. I had a bunch of those, and just getting back into that. And then I was like, oh, I want to go find some cards. So then I would go to like Target or Walmart, and the shelves would be absolutely empty. So I started doing some research, and the resale market on the cards is crazy right now. So it's been a lot of fun to get back into. So that's my number five. Yeah, you can make fun of me for the Gary V thing. He is definitely a big spearheader for the card resale game right now.
I've always wondered how much like Topps is paying Gary V to
I think
really put a resurgence back into trading cards because I know he's making real money on this.
well the money he's making is he buys a ton of a certain player and then mentions their name and the value goes up. That's
It
what
goes
he does.
up. Yeah. I feel like to even spark the entire resurgence, it had to have started somewhere else though. Like,
Oh, probably.
and he's marketing, right? So they paid him to do it. So I always wonder like how much he got paid or what that looked like. But I think that's cool. Kind of getting back into a hobby. I don't know if that's the hobby that I would pick. If I'm getting trading cards, I'm gonna just call myself a nerd right here, and I don't care. Like I played Pokemon for a long
Catch
time.
'em
I'll
all,
probably
but
get back in Pokemon. I don't care. Um, I don't really care about any of you haters out there. And I definitely don't care about Oliver's opinion on that because I'm trying to beat him this week. We took the L to Roker last week, so but yeah, I think that the cards have like evolved a lot too, right? Like they have like patches of card, like their jerseys and autographs and things that we didn't have back when I was a kid. But
yeah, and back in the day there was the wax and the non-shiny cardboard and just the cards have turned into just like a much better photography. You've got full bleed cards they call them, where the whole card is a picture. There's no edge. There's no nothing. It's like a lifelike picture. There's holograms. There's all kinds of stuff. Not holograms. What
holographic,
holographic. That's it.
right?
Yeah. All right.
see, it's his favorite hobby, but he doesn't even know the terms.
Well, I'd never heard of this Gary V guy, but I feel like the best job in the world is buying a bunch of a baseball card and then saying that card is worth a lot of money and then selling them.
Then it becomes
seems-
worth a lot of money,
That
right?
seems illegal. Like, that's just straight up market manipulation. Like, how are they letting this guy do this?
He's this guy that posts like advice videos on LinkedIn and Facebook and sells his marketing courses to people and like.
And he's like huge on
okay.
TikTok now, so
Yeah.
he's got a lot of young following.
But he was like,
course
everybody
he
buy. He was like, everybody buy Giannis rookie cards. They're gonna be huge. And when he said that, the value was like $175 or something, and they're insane now. Or he said, everybody buy. I can't remember Ja Morant rookie cards, and now they're
Uh-huh.
big and stuff like that.
Wow, that's smart, man.
Yeah. So, all right, I'll move on to four. In the same vein of Seth a minute ago with the supporting local businesses, I said takeout picnics. So a lot of the local businesses around us are just doing takeout only or delivery services. But we've enjoyed going and picking up takeout and taking it to like a park or parking somewhere and just doing a little picnic with it. That's been a lot of fun for my wife and I. It makes it like a little date.
Do you wear your Letterman jacket when you go on your picnic?
For those of you that didn't listen last week, there was some joking about a Letterman jacket when I mentioned Friday Night Football in my top 5. So that's a callback right there. But no, I do not wear the Letterman jacket.
I don't think I've gone on a picnic. It's hard because our little one would just run around everywhere, and it's hard to eat with no corral opportunities, no obstacles to get in his way. He just run to wherever is next and chase things. But it's not a bad pick, I guess. I mean, you kind of
just put him on a leash like we do with our dog.
Yeah, that'd go well. Sure, Montana would love that. All right, so my number 4 is teleworking. So for me, I'm used to being in the office all the time, 50 to 60 hours a week sometimes. And now I'm teleworking, and my commute used to be 40 to 45 minutes, and now it's 2 minutes. And that's after just waking up and walking to my computer, really getting my breakfast or my cup of coffee. And it's allowed me, what it has actually allowed me to do is get some more flexibility later at night, I feel like. So if there's things that pop up that are emergent, I don't have to go in early the next morning to get them done before the next day. Because I normally don't take my laptop home every night. But now that I've started teleworking, I might do that once we go back to the office. But I stay up late anyway, so I like getting some work done at night, and it's nice to be able to just kind of go downstairs and get it done. So teleworking is my number 4. It's been a big change for me personally.
Yeah, I feel that. This was amazing. I saw a guy, I was on a golf course playing with random dudes and like through Golf Now, and we're just playing. It's like a Friday afternoon. He rips out his laptop in the golf cart, and I'm like, what's going on? Like, he just pull a laptop out of his golf bag, and he's like, ah, man, like I got to be on a work call right now.
I'm in the office, quote unquote.
Yeah,
right?
He like has his video shut down. He's like answering like questions to some guy while he's like in between shots. It was amazing, but I feel like it's definitely made life easier for a lot of people.
I think that's what's gonna hurt people who actually like truly take advantage of it in the future, right? People who are taking their laptop out to shoot 18 holes.
I've seen people pull the phone out for like a quick call from their boss or whatever, but I have never seen the laptop out of the golf bag move.
It was impressive.
As long as he didn't pull out a second monitor or something, he's like setting it up on the golf cart, that'd be too much.
Yeah. But I mean, dude, at the end of the day, you just said work as a favorite activity, so I don't know, man.
I wouldn't say favorite activity, but it's like a big change.
4th favorite activity.
That's given me like an hour and a half back of my day every single day. I appreciate that hour and a half. True. Right?
That's true.
So that's what I'm talking about. Having the opportunity to not have to drive home in traffic every single day. Especially on like to start my weekend on Fridays or to come in on Mondays. Those are nice.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so if you don't like my number 4, let me hear yours.
All right, well, so now you're making me sound like a bad guy because you're out here supporting the local community, but my number 4 is like cooking at home. I've always liked to cook, but especially when now obviously things are kind of more open and like more restaurants, you can eat outside and that kind of thing, but like back in March, like everything was closed, like people weren't even doing takeout yet. So I really kind of like started really spending a lot of time. I don't work, I was in school. So I would have like 1 or 2 online classes, kind of a joke, and then I had just tons of time to kill. So I just
you were attending those classes from the golf course, of course, right?
Yeah. Well, a lot of it I was golfing a lot.
He's like, actually,
you know what? I'm going to be honest here. I never actually was in class on the golf course, but I was in class on the way to the golf course. So being able to like get into class on a Zoom allowed me to be in class in the passenger seat of my buddy's car. So pretty much. I had a lot of fun like cooking all the time. I kept doing that.
Putting
started like
pizza
thinking.
rolls in the oven is not cooking. I just want to make sure that you're aware.
Oh,
What's your-
oh yeah.
Getting the macaroni
No.
and cheese and then putting the powder in and some milk and butter, that's not
Okay,
cooking,
no,
Oliver.
yeah,
So,
What's your
This is
favorite
true.
what's your favorite dish to cook? Let's hear it.
Ooh,
Hot Pocket.
my favorite dish to cook. Okay, I'm gonna go just in the past few months. I made like a braised lamb shank with like a carrot puree and like an orzo and like pasta salad with it and stuff. It was pretty delicious.
Very swanky, and Seth's over here making fun of you calling it
Yeah.
Hot Pockets and stuff.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
a
You know, I had to
dish.
flex a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Also, ordering it from a 5-star restaurant and then reheating it in your oven is not considered cooking either. So I just want to make sure we have the parameters
That's
set
true.
here for what.
No,
cooking
yeah,
is.
this was cooked in my girlfriend's oven actually. You know, whenever I'm cooking for her, that's when I'm buying the lamb and that kind
Set
of
the
stuff.
game up,
If it's
yeah.
me, if it's just for me, it might be the mac and cheese, it might be the pizza rolls. But if she's gonna be
You gotta impress the
getting
girl.
fed,
You're like,
yeah.
right.
Shouts out Anna. She'll probably be listening to this. So what's up? Love you. You get lamb, I get mac and cheese. But yeah, so I started doing a lot of pretty serious cooking, and I thought it was a good time. So yeah, that's my 4.
Not bad. Not a bad one.
Am I snake? So do I go again?
Yeah, we're snaking it.
All right. Cool. So my 3, and so my 3 is lawn games. So that could be cornhole or can jam or like spike ball, those kind of things. Even like maybe like drinking games like beer stick. I don't know if you guys are familiar. It's
Love
also
some
called
beer
Polish
stick.
horseshoes. Yeah, I love that game. So we back when I was down at school, we did like a lot. The kids underneath us had cornhole, and that like kind of just became our go-to. Like finish up with class and just go play cornhole in the afternoon. We
Is
started
that
getting
even a
little-
backyard game anymore? Because they have it on like ESPN 24/7. I swear, because there
Well,
aren't any
that's
real
because-
sports anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
like mainstream on ESPN. All
I've
the
found
time.
myself sucked in watching like 5 matches back to back to back.
Oh, yeah.
I never would
I'm
have thought.
sorry for you.
They're so good though. It's fascinating. Like they just hit everything.
Meanwhile, when I'm playing, I'm like, I'm happy if I get like 2 of my 4 bags on the board or
Oh,
something,
yeah.
and they're in there like
100%.
they're mad if they don't make all 4.
Yeah. There was, so one little note, like not entirely sure if like Corona can attach to a beanbag, but as far as I know, it can't. So far so good. Love playing a lot of lawn games, getting outside, that kind of thing. So that's my 3.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
like
Seth.
that one.
Let's hear your 3.
Well, my 3 actually has to do with the lawn as well, and that's taking care of a lawn or gardening. And that just shows my age because
mowing the yard is the worst. I would
not mowing the lawn, but
yeah.
it's like a competition. So I moved recently, and it seems like a competition in my neighborhood who can water and take care of their lawn the best, because I've moved into this newer subdivision and everybody's got new grass, and we're all like proud to have grass and grow it, and people are getting new fences, and I'm getting a new fence hopefully eventually.
You're gonna like put up a sign that says "Stay off my lawn."
Stay off my lawn.
You're just gonna be that middle-aged man just sitting on your front porch yelling at kids.
Exactly. I'm out there with my scissors, cutting blade by blade, anything that's out of place. No, but I think this is the first house that I've had, and I think it's my 5th one. We move all the time for some unknown reason, but it's the one I have cared the most about, and I feel like being home, looking at it out my windows every day, just kind of makes me want to have something nice to look at. So lawn and gardening is my number 3. Maybe a little old for some people, but if you have a house and you're looking out the window at it 24/7, then you might know what I'm talking about.
In a similar vein, I'll go ahead with my number 3. I said home projects. I think that covers a better section of things than taking care of your lawn. Like painting rooms and hanging up shelves and just we screened in our back porch, did stuff like that, things that improve the stay-at-home process through all this. Like when you're home 24/7, you kind of want to make improvements here or there to things that you've got to, like that's what you're doing. You're hanging out on your back porch. You're spending time in your home office, so some new shelves in there would be great. So stuff like that. That's kind of, those little projects have made the house better because you're spending all of your time at the house. So that was my number 3.
Yeah, it's kind of along the same lines.
Yeah.
Staying at home.
Well, so I was moving out of my place within months of this all starting, and now I'm at like my mom's house, so I'm not really in charge of, if I started painting a wall at my mom's house, she'd probably scream at me. That would probably be horrifying for her. And then like our other place, we were mainly just focused on getting our security deposit back. So we had to.
You got real problems. You're trying to get your security deposit back.
Get a door hinge fixed up. But I do appreciate that. Especially when you're sitting in the same place all the time, like you want it to look nice, so respect it.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So in the snake fashion, we'll go with my number 2. And I said being able to go to work in my PJs, just kind of so rolling out of bed, just walking right downstairs and not having to shower right away. Just got an 8 a.m. meeting. You roll out of bed at 7:45, walk downstairs and turn the computer on, and you're working. No commute, no nothing. So it's not the actual act of working, but being able to do that right there that's
for sure.
That's awesome. That extra hour of my life back, not having to shower, get ready, commute to work. And then you get the back end of the commute not having to happen either. It's a 30-second commute from my bed to my basement.
Yeah, and when I talked about teleworking, that's kind of what I was getting at. But I didn't even mention the fact that I don't have to wear a shirt and tie every day anymore. So I'm appreciating that. Although I look at my closet and I'm like, well, that's a waste. I have an entire rack of ties and pants, and I even bought some new suits during COVID because they were on sale so low that I was like, I'll just stock up for when we do go back to the office. But there's something to be said about not having to get ready every day.
I feel like, and I sincerely hope that all of this happening and people proving productivity during COVID from work from home capacity, I hope it shifts how companies and businesses do work, that ones that can be good remote and productive remote. I think it would be really awesome if we could get some sort of lasting impact from all of this. 'Cause that's one little thing that we can pull away from this awful virus that would be kind of cool to change the landscape of the workforce for years to come.
Yeah, and I think it has impacted a lot of people's productivity. I know for me, I don't have people swinging by my office either just asking me one-off questions while I'm trying to focus on something as frequently, or just swinging by to kind of chit-chat for a while. If they want to chit-chat with me now, it's like they have to pick up the phone and call me, and that just doesn't happen because it's not an open door that they're having to walk by. So yeah, I think that productivity can and is at an all-time high for those who can effectively work from home. So yeah, I agree.
One thing I love, Wes, I like how you couched that one there. You're like, not the actual act of working.
Yeah, he heard you try to get me earlier.
He was like, I'm not letting him get me on this one this time. He goes, I like being in my pajamas, all right?
All day long.
I'm not talking about work here.
He actually had telework written down, and he's like, oh yeah, no, I'm gonna scratch
edit.
All right, so my number 2 actually goes back to your number 3, Wes, and it's home improvement / decorating. So like I said, we moved into this house not too long ago. So we actually moved in early March. So we had new things that we needed to decorate, and all the stores were closed. So my wife, of course, goes online shopping and buys all these things, and I get the great opportunity to put them up and hang them and level them and all of those different things. So yeah, getting some of those home improvement things done, even in a new house, there's always something to do. So yeah, I agree with you on your number 3. It's just my number 2, partially because we have another little one on the way, so I've been focusing a lot on getting that nursery ready, which is definitely time consuming.
I feel like during COVID should be the ideal time for everybody to save a bunch of money, but I feel like everyone's been spending a bunch of money at Lowe's and Home Depot trying to
Yeah.
get these home projects off. Every time I've had to go get any supplies for my projects, Lowe's and Home Depot both have just been filled with people. It's crazy.
Well, I mentioned I hope I get a fence up. Well, the only reason I don't have a fence up is we have the posts up, but Kansas City is completely out of pickets for fences. And apparently, like, Canada has shut down the imports of wood into America for fencing. I don't know the truth behind that or what that looks like in all reality, but that's what I was told by people at the home improvement stores. So we're shopping around trying to find some pickets to finish my fence, because right now I just have 50 posts up and no fencing.
So,
Pretty crazy.
am I getting this right? Your favorite activities are eating, working, and doing chores. Pretty much, yeah.
He's got him.
There it is. Yep. Apparently
Okay.
so.
Once you
That's the
become
old
a dad,
person's life.
Yeah, once
I
you become a
respect
dad.
it. I'm starting to feel so juvenile. Like, I'm looking at my list. Mine is just like, going out, doing whatever the hell I want, and you're
drinking
like,
100 beers
really
in 3 days.
productive. Yeah,
Like Roker.
I'm not quite that level, but I've definitely drank quite a few beers in my life with Roker. But yeah, I'm looking at my list. I'm like, I need to like put something like serious down here, like personal growth. Nope, no, none of that.
All right, so what's your 2? Once you finish your beer.
Yeah. So my number 2, I had this in my mind this morning, and now I'm kind of dialing it back. One, because you guys seem to be making good use of your time, and I'm not. And my number 2 is boating. So, going out tubing, wakeboarding, hanging out with your buddies on the boat. But I don't know if you guys can really tell, I'm pretty red-faced right now. I got very burnt today, and I'm feeling the after effects of it. So I'm going to stick with boating at 2, but it's starting to slide down my list the more I start to hurt as this goes on.
I can't
first
see
shower-
anything with that terrible Red Sox logo above your head. It's just like blocking out your whole thing for me. Yeah, that's an absolute no-go. So
that first shower after the sunburn is the worst too.
Yeah, I just had it before this.
It's got to be cold shower.
It was a cold shower, but it's like it's really hot here today. I'm up in Massachusetts, but it's still like 90 degrees, and we don't have AC because I think we just expect it to be cold here until every summer it gets to be 95 and it's miserable, and I just feel so hot and like on fire right now. But I'll survive.
I've got
number 2.
I've got a theory, and it has no facts or anything behind it. But I always turn the first shower after getting really burnt. I always turn it really, really hot, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna scald this, and then the rest of the shower is gonna be comfortable.
What the hell?
The rest of the shower and every other shower after is until the sunburn's gone is just gonna be comfortable now. It's not gonna hurt it that bad. So that's my theory with sunburn showers. So you guys
That's the worst theory I've ever heard in my life.
You guys can try it next time and thank me later. That for 30 seconds it's miserable, but for the rest of the week it's better. I promise.
It's like you set your pain tolerance at the begining, and after that,
that's like if you get shot, you break a finger right afterwards, right? So you forget that you got shot.
Major pain style. You want me to show you a little something to take your mind off that pain? Shout out my boy, Damon Wayans.
So let me know if you guys try that. I would like some.
I will absolutely never try that one. Don't think that's anywhere in my plans, ever.
Did I miss my window? Like, can I do my next shower, or is it's too late now, isn't it?
I'm not sure. I've never done it on the second one. It's always been the.
All right. I'll be the test dummy on that. I'll let you know.
All right, sounds good. But boating is a solid number 2. The only thing about boating is if you're the owner of the boat, having to take care of it sucks. So it's always have that
Yes.
friend who has a boat. Never be the friend with the boat.
And just like with the truck, right? Like you don't want the truck if you don't want to be willing to help people. It's the same with a boat. You're the one who's got to
my
be there
number
for
2
others.
should be boating on your friend's boat. Shouts out, Lucas. Thanks for having me on the boat today.
Hope you had fun cleaning up your boat afterwards, Lucas, while Oliver was
I put
taking
the
his
front tarp
sunburn
on.
shower.
But yeah. All right, awesome. So I've mentioned it here and there throughout. For me, no personal growth here, but just another hobby. For me, it has to have been golf. I've been doing it the whole time since Corona started. It's like the perfect social distancing sport. You can play it and literally not go within like 20 feet of someone else. It's all outside. Especially for me, because I was finishing up law school. I didn't have Friday classes. My classes were online. Like I said, like I could just go to class, like in the car ride to the course. North Carolina has great golf. And I just was like, I'm going to get really good at golf while this goes on because there's nothing else to do. So,
and have you gotten really good at golf?
Really good is a kind
it's
of
hard
metric, obviously.
It's all relative.
Yeah, it's relative.
Have you gotten better?
Yes, I shot a 72 like a couple of weeks ago,
yeah,
which was
great.
the round of my life. I don't think that's going to happen again for a while, but felt good. I literally felt like an out-of-body experience. I sound like a crazy person, but
I get it. I shot a 74 once, and I've never gotten below like a 76 or 77 since, I think. Right now, I would probably shoot 88. I don't play much right now, but it was the day before I was about to propose to my now wife, and like I was not thinking about golf at all. I was just out there playing with my dad and a buddy, and I was just like playing to get my mind off of what was about to happen the next day. And I was like, wasn't thinking about golf, and it's the best I've ever played.
That's the way to do it.
Really, if you can get out of your own way, like
exactly.
You play the best.
It's such a head game, man. It really is. And once you get upset once or get in your head about one thing, and it's like don't ever think about the water because you're gonna
hit it right in the water
if you're thinking about it.
Don't look left, you're hitting it left.
That's a solid number 1, and I love golf. It's one of my favorite sports. It's on my honorable mention list, but I just haven't been able to go and play as much as I would have liked, even with all the time Corona's given. I've played like 3 times during Corona with some buddies, but it is a great social distance. You can the courses are allowing everybody to have different carts if they want it, and walk. You can walk. You can. There's been some deals too, especially when they first when it first started, because people weren't even going. They were kind of staying inside, and you can still do that social distancing. So that's a solid number 1.
Yeah, it is a good number 1. And I also like the fact that when I have golfed, it's always a different experience. Like one course has pool noodles in the cups. Others got no stick at all. So you don't even know where you're putting until you get up on the green. You just aiming for the middle of the green. Others have like little cups around the cup. I don't know. I feel like it's been different everywhere I've been. So that's been interesting too.
I've been waiting for one of the cups around the cups courses. I've played a good amount of courses. I haven't ran into one because I've seen the videos of like once you're on the green, you just whack it at
it.
You don't
exactly.
need to like.
If you hit it, it's in.
Somebody I saw. You don't have to worry about speed at all. I saw some dude like broke a course record. Like jokingly broke the course record because he went out there. He hit every fairway, hit every green in regulation, and then just made every putt in one putt because all he had to do was just slam it into the PVC pipe around the hole.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, I might start like doing some research, like local PVC green like holes near me. Like I want to go shoot a 60, but haven't found one yet. But that'll be my number one Corona activity.
Yeah, number I was gonna say, yeah, everybody's putting has gotten better during COVID for sure. At
All
those
right, Seth,
courses.
let's hear that one.
All right, my number one is it's starting a podcast. That's my number one. I feel like starting a podcast is a great activity to network with people throughout the country, throughout the world.
Pandering to the audience here.
Yeah, it's a great activity to do, especially when you have a really great podcast idea. Like,
Especially
I'm imagining
like
one where you like
host in the world too.
where you argue like your top 5 of a certain topic or something like that, and sometimes with people you don't even know. I think that's just a really great idea. So starting a podcast was definitely my number one for COVID. It's been the best activity that I do on a weekly basis. Get to meet great people like Oliver. Shout out Oliver for joining the show today. Appreciate it. And then yeah, that's my number one. I mean, there really is no other number one for me. So starting a podcast.
Now I'm mad you went first because I have the exact same number one.
I knew that was coming.
And I promise you, audience and Oliver here,
We
that
did
was
not talk.
planned. We make a
funny.
point not to talk about anything we're gonna have on our list. So that was
So I can bash Wes when I first hear it.
so. But yeah, that it's and I think we're definitely not the only people who started a podcast during Corona. But like with the extra time we've had, and as much as Seth and I debate things on our own, we just thought it was a natural thing to do is start the podcast, and it's been fun. It's a kind of a weekly release and reset right before the work week's about to start, kind of like closing out the weekend. Don't get Sunday scaries because I get to do the podcast on Sunday night.
And it has given me something that I can kind of think about in my free time throughout the week, like whether it be topics that, like, kind of reviewing the topics that we've gotten, because we get a good amount of topic suggestions, I feel like, whether it be doing all the Instagram stuff, whether it be thinking about the topic that is suggested that we're going to go with for that week. Yeah, it has been much more difficult than I originally thought it was, than I thought it would be, as far as picking my top 5. I mean, for a lot of these topics, picking my top 5 has been really difficult. And to force myself to do that every week, I feel like has also kind of helped me be more decisive too, if that makes any sense. So yeah,
I agree. And it's as we've gone along, and I hope people that are listening agree with this, I think we've gotten a little better at keeping the flow, a little better at the banter with the guest, and it's been a lot of fun. So yeah, so we both have a number one of starting a podcast. So that was completely predictable.
Interesting.
So with that, I'll start with the recap of my top 5. So.
And give us your honorable mentions if you have.
Yeah, I'll do that as well. So number 5 was get back into old hobbies. Number 4 was take out picnics. Number 3, home projects. Number 2, go to work in PJs. And number 1 was start a podcast. And then my honorable mentions that I have, I said day drinking because it's I mean, it's just what else is there to do sometimes?
What is time in COVID?
Exactly.
There is no time.
You finish up with work a little early, you crack a cold one or pour a mixed drink and get your evening started early and enjoy yourself a little bit because you don't have to drive anywhere. Another one that made my honorable mention was work on my cooking skills. So shout out Oliver for his earlier one. Another one that I had on my honorable mention was golf, as I mentioned before. Have play a bunch of PS4 and Xbox. That's one that I put on there. Didn't
for sure switch for me, but yes, a lot
more
than I was before.
Love playing some MLB The Show, Road to the Show.
Oh yeah,
that's a good one.
That's the one thing I'm missing, man. I need a good baseball game on the Xbox, and there's
not one, but it's coming next. The show's coming to Xbox next year, so
is it?
Okay. I couldn't wait, and I went ahead and got a PS4, but
I've been waiting and waiting and waiting.
And then last
Switch
was
gotta have.
Go ahead.
Backyard baseball, isn't that like a?
Yeah, I think you can download it. Yeah, I think you can download it.
It's gotta be on there.
Yep.
What more do you need?
Pablo. That's the back end
Pablo,
code.
exactly. Yes.
Speaking of collecting baseball cards, I'm pretty sure they make like backyard baseball cards, and
They
like
do.
you get that Pablo card, like that's everything right there.
That's awesome. I had no clue they made those. And then my last honorable mention was binge a bunch of Netflix or Hulu shows, but that's something I do outside of COVID anyway. So, but I've definitely had more time. I feel like every night we're watching 2-3 episodes because we're without the commute, you get that hour back, so it adds in an extra episode or two that you get to watch. So that's my top 5 and honorable mentions. So we'll go on with Seth.
All right, yeah. So my number 5 was supporting local restaurants / businesses. My number 4 is teleworking and all of the excellent things that you get as an advantage of teleworking. Number 3 was gardening / lawn care. That puts me in the old man category. And number 2 is home improvement / decorating of the new house. And number 1 was starting a podcast, which I swear, and Wes does as well, that we did not talk to each other about our number 1 because I normally like to bash Wes's number 1. And then my honorable mentions, I have developing a skill or learning a new skill is one. So for me, it was kind of developing some of my Photoshop skills a little bit better. Still a novice, but definitely better than I was. One was binging a TV show, so on the same page as Wes on that one. In parentheses, I have Tiger King specifically because I like took over the world there for a couple weeks. Another I have
Carol Baskin do it.
Oh, she absolutely did it. She whacked him.
100%.
Carol Baskin whacked him. Number 8, probably don't want to go into too much detail on this one, but baby making for a lot of people. I know that 9 months from this period of time, we will have an explosion of children. That doesn't necessarily apply to my wife and I because she was already pregnant before Corona started. So
it won't be applying to my wife and I either. Not time for a kid yet.
We'll see. Another was online shopping spree / getting a new vehicle. And then my wife and I are both getting new vehicles during Corona. And then my last one is watching the Super Bowl repeated dozens of times. Go Chiefs. Bang.
Seth, if we ever get a very strong listener presence at like old people communities, you'll definitely win.
Yeah.
You'll start winning episodes.
I'm the GOAT. 32 and over.
Grandparents. If we ever have a strong grandparent listening, you'll start winning some episodes.
All those gilfs that follow me, yes. Grandmothers.
All right, Oliver, let's hear that recap.
All right. So my 5 was hiking. My 4 was cooking, not mac and cheese, but sometimes mac and cheese. My 3
sometimes chicken nuggets.
Yeah. Dinosaur shapes specifically.
Absolutely.
My 3 was lawn games, etc. My 2 was boating and the activities that you can do with a boat. Boating on your friend's boat specifically. And then my number 1 was golfing, except for when you're playing bad, and it's probably the most miserable activity in the world. But I'm thinking more about the 72 rather than the 88s. But for my honorable mentions, I kind of similar to what you said, Seth. You were picking up Photoshop. I Logic Pro, like the music making software.
Yep.
They did like a 90-day free trial, and like I'm a big like hip hop head, and I was like, oh, I'll pick it up. I'll throw my beats on, and I'll make some cool hip hop beats. Yeah, okay, buddy. Like it was
Oliver on the beat.
just so technical and confusing. I watched like a good couple hours of like YouTube tutorials of like legitimate producers, and I don't think I put together like 3 whole bars of worth of music before I quit on that one. It was dark, but fun while it lasted. It was fun just like pressing spacebar and hearing like a bass sound over and over again and being like, okay, now what?
You're like, boom, I got the base.
Yeah, you got this one down. Yeah, I said like video games. Some of your got and Netflix, obviously classics. Good honorable mentions, and then my honorable mention specific to myself is are you guys familiar with the game Settlers of Catan?
Yes, I have that
I've heard of it. I have
in my
not.
closet
yeah.
upstairs.
Yeah, so that back when I was living down at school before we graduated, my girlfriend would come over, and then I had two roommates, and it takes four people, we'd play, and really fun game, but we're all pretty competitive, and it like half the time ended in like yelling matches and like fights, and it not, but really fun. At least it was like something competitive to do back in the day when we weren't even leaving our apartment.
I've heard Catan,
so-
like at Wake, a lot of people love to play Catan. My sister went to Wake, and she said a lot of people
Okay.
there love to
Nice.
play it. But in that
Yeah.
same vein, we played Monopoly. My sister was visiting last night, me and my wife, and we played Monopoly, and then that ended in people getting mad at each other. So
When
I feel like
doesn't it end in
never
that?
board games
Yeah.
always end in, when you're playing
Yeah.
board games with family and friends, it always ends that way. Somebody gets mad.
Oh yeah.
Especially with like a game like Monopoly or Settlers, where you have like a lot of autonomy and like your decision making, and like when someone like people we're like screaming at each other like collusion.
Yep, that's exactly what happened last night. It's like they ganged up on me because I had more money, and they're, like making in their trade deals. They're like, well, if we trade these two properties, we'll give each other immunity when we land on these things.
Yeah.
And then that way the only person who has to pay us is Wesley. And it's like, that's not even fair. Come on, guys.
Yeah. I'm only losing because I'm better than you, and you're ganging up.
I still won. We played twice yesterday, and I still won both, even with the collusion. I just would like
Good stuff.
As long as nobody stood up and threw the board against the wall, that's good. That's a good night.
That's a win. All right. Well, that was a solid list, guys. I would love to have been able to make fun of people's lists more. That's always fun. But other than Seth being a grandpa, that was tough to do on this list because we had some solid lists.
No doubt. They were great lists. Appreciate you being on the cast, Oliver. Appreciate it very much. And thanks for your topic.
Yeah. Happy to help out. It was a pleasure being on. Thanks for having me on. It was a great time. Can't wait to listen to it when it drops. And yeah.
Every Tuesday morning, new episode, 5 Over Friends.
Can't wait, and I'm sure my mom can't either. It's gonna be awesome.
Hey, if your mom's listening, I'm gonna get a vote. So
hey, that's true.
I'm down.
She's like, why isn't this guy my son? Like, he's
Vote
mowing
for
the lawn.
Oliver's mom. All right. Well, thanks for being on the show, man. And thanks everybody for listening. We appreciate you tuning in to another episode of 5 Over Friends. Be sure to tune in every Tuesday morning for new episodes. Even if we're on vacation or out of it, we still put them out. So we appreciate your continued listenership. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, vote for the winner of this episode, and give us some topics for next week's episode so we can get somebody new on the pod. Appreciate you listening, and we're out.
Later.
All right, so this is my punishment for losing to Wes in episode 6. I will subsequently be performing the ABCs for our listeners, and I've chosen to do it in a Wes-like fashion. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, don't forget that Z. Now I know my ABCs. Next time I'm gonna beat Wes's ass.
I'd like it on record that I sound nothing like that.
You got a little southern twang to you. Hey guys, it's Seth. When Wes and I decided to start our podcast, we used Anchor because it's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And they'll distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's essentially everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So go download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Thanks for supporting our show, 5 Over Friends.
We hope you'll join us next week as we debate a new topic.
Don't forget to submit topics on our latest Instagram post for a chance to be our next guest debating your top 5.
Subscribe, rate the show, and share with your friends to help us grow.
See
y'all next week.